and the Dodgers complete a sweep of the Phillies. So let's just talk about it really fast. Looking at game one, it was a veritable Yesha Palooza, as Walker Buehler would probably say, as Smith, Peralta, Hayward, and Mookie all hit home runs, and the Dodgers win 13-4. Tony Gonsolin goes 4 and 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned, two walks, 3 strikeouts. Not his cleanest game. Worst game so far this year out of the few he's had, but bullpen does what they've been doing lately. Bickford is the only one that gives up a run in his 1 1/3 innings pitched, and Victor Gonzalez and Shelby Miller go 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. Not going to talk too much about this game because there's not much to say. Dodgers offense showed up. Pitching could have been much worse, and they still win. So there's not a lot to say. Loving seeing the Dodgers consistently hit. They're doing a good job of getting to the plate, working counts, getting pitchers out early, except for today. We'll get to that in a little bit. But, I mean, it was good. It was just a great performance overall. And I'm going to talk about that so short because the game two was the basically second verse, same as the first, a little bit louder, a whole lot worse. But it's a small ball that gets it done. Outside of a late Freddie Freeman home run that scored 2, the Dodgers just got down dirty. The game was one in the trenches. Mookie had a couple 2-out singles to score some runs. Chris Taylor had a couple bloop doubles that were I think the hardest hit one was 76 miles an hour. It was just a lot of, small cuts leading to a 13-1 victory as well. There's not a ton to necessarily say except for the performance of the series, at least pitching-wise, was Julio. And we got an angry Julio in game 2. He goes 7 innings pitched, gives up the lone home run, a little farewell gift, a little souvenir for Trey Turner as he exits. 1 walk and 10 strikeouts, earning the entire city of LA Jumbo Jacks by himself. You want to talk bounce back performances. I mean, my God, that's as good as it's going to get. Julio goes deep in the game. I mean, he was just dominant. From the jump, he was throwing 94 miles an hour when his fastball was hovering 92. It may have touched 93 a couple times, but from the get-go, 94. And his breaker looked great. He lost it for a second and got it back. It's what you want to see from a Julio performance. And hopefully this is what we get moving forward. We get an angry Julio. He's just coming down the mound. From offensive perspective, again, not much today. We got contributions up and down the lineup. Mookie's a man possessed this series. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But the real big story was Vargas. Vargas gets his first 4-hit game as a Dodger in his major league career. He has 3 doubles. When you get when you get Vargas at the bottom of the lineup, setting the table for other guys, when you start elongating that lineup, you start getting that run production you're hoping from a Mookie Betts, a Freddie Freeman. It helps a ton. There were a couple situations where you get men on the corner or Vargas on second, and then Chris Taylor and Austin Barnes coming up. Thankfully, Chris Taylor comes through with a couple bloop doubles and stuff like that. But it's still a big help to have somebody further down the lineup in the 7-hole or the 6-hole producing. Once we get JD Martinez back as well, he's going to help lengthen the lineup, and I think that's just going to help the Dodgers get their rhythm, and we'll see kind of more like the Dodgers of old that we've seen not so much earlier in the year where they're just kind of, it seems like top of the lineup's going, the bottom of the lineup's not. We'll start to get a little bit more even spread. Before we talk about that a little bit more, let's talk about Game 3. Game 3 was the most exciting by far. We'll talk about it a little bit more in detail. Gavin Stone makes his major league debut. Traffic really early on, but the defense is not doing him any favors. Miguel Vargas, you can argue whether or not he should be the one attempting to make this play, but attempts a diving grab, misses, bloop single. Max Muncy has an opportunity to turn 2. Ball pops out of his glove, and Bryson Stott eventually scores a run on a sac fly, and then he throws like 8 pitches or something in the second inning. He gets through it easily, and then in the third inning, he gives up 3 singles, and then scores a bunch of runs, and the Dodgers fall behind 5-0 into the third. But Mookie Betts continues to be a man possessed, and he singles in the bottom of the third, scoring David Peralta, gets the Dodgers on the board. So now we're 5-1. Again, the rookies continue to produce. James Outman gets on board. Miguel Vargas hits his second homer of the year, and it was an absolute blast. Love to see that. That cuts the Phillies lead to 2. Now we're at 5-3. Dodgers have men at the corners with 1 out. Freddie hits a sac fly, scores CT. Dodgers are claw within 1. Tell me if you've heard this out of my mouth. Rookies, continuing to produce. Both Vargas and Outman reach, and importantly, Vargas steals second base as the Phillies really aren't looking. And the Dodgers' most clutch hitter in Austin Barnes obviously singles. Whether or not it was deserved, Edmundo Sosa had an opportunity, hits it right over his glove, scores both Outman and Vargas, and the Dodgers take the lead 6-5. It seems the Dodgers really want to give Brusdar Graterol an opportunity to kind of cement himself as the closer. They send him out in the 9th inning. He looks good for a batter, and then he walks a guy, gives up a single. Bryson Stott scores Bryce Harper from second on a single, and the Phillies tie it all up. But thankfully, the Phillies make I wouldn't say a rookie mistake, but an early Craig Kimbrell mistake as they send him out with the game tied. And, he pays the Dodgers back for the woes he caused us last year. He gives up a single. They intentionally walk Freddie. He walks Will Smith, and then Max Muncy just rips the first ball he sees down the right field line, walks it off, grand slam style. Gavin Stone's final line in this game is 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. The Dodgers bullpen keeps them in the game. They go 5 innings pitched. They strike out 5. The only earned run was from Graterol in the 9th. Miguel Rojas makes a hell of a play in the 9th inning. Trey Turner hits a single, and Miguel Rojas, I mean, we've seen it before, Trey Turner hits that little blooper to shortstop, and the shortstop isn't aggressive enough, and Trey Turner gets there. He beats out the throw. Miguel Rojas barehands this ball and guns it to first, and he gets Trey Turner. I mean, that is a great play from a guy who's not even getting everyday starts at shortstop. A guy that he's coming off injury. They pinch hit for him. He didn't even start the game. Doc pinch hit him, and he gets a single. Good job in the 8th. Great, but he's not even starting the game, and he comes in at shortstop and makes an incredible play. So tip of the cap to Miguel Rojas for keeping the Dodgers, or limiting the traffic and really keeping the Dodgers in the game. We have Bryce Harper standing on second with an out as opposed to first and second, no outs. It's a big difference. What did we see from Gavin Stone? First outing as a major leaguer. Like I said, Dodgers defense didn't do him a ton of favors in the first inning. Gives up 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them are earned. It was a rookie start. That's kind of what you expect. It struck me a lot like Pepio's first start last year, which I think ironically came against the Phillies, where he's lauded for this otherworldly changeup, but when it's kind of the only pitch he's landing, the Phillies are just sitting on it. And so I think, you can get away with it in AAA. And, he's a kid. He's learning. He'll figure it out, how to change eye level, how to throw his fastball for a more effective strike. It's also Barnsley's first day calling him as a catcher. I'm sure they've got some work they're going to have to do, whether or not, he has to start with Will Smith next time, who knows. But, it's a rookie start. And honestly, this is a tough lineup. Bryce Harper comes back from injury, and he's on all 5 times today. He goes like 4 for 4 and he walks, or he goes 3 for 3 and he walks twice. I forget what his final stat line on, but like Bryce Harper is Bryce Harper. He looks just fine. His arm, he's swinging the bat just fine. Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner. I mean, these are guys that I talked about it earlier in my pregame. If you didn't check that out, I recommend you stop by the channel every day before the Dodger games. As soon as the lineups come out, I record a video really quick, give you some, what insights into what we can look forward to. But this is a tough lineup, like I said earlier. And I thought he fought admirably. He didn't really put up a crooked number. He got through 4 innings. He got to about 75 pitches, which is about what he was sitting at. So got through 4. Kept it low, and the Dodgers bullpen, all credit to them. 5 innings, they also kept the Dodgers in the game. So I think this is a good showing from Gavin Stone in his first outing. Obviously, room to improve. Gonna need to see a little bit more from his fastball. Got to see a little bit more from his slider, and that'll all come in due time. We didn't expect this guy to just show up and absolutely shove, or at least I didn't. So I'm excited to see him going forward. I mean, his stuff looked great when he was locating his fastball. It looked good. That changeup plays, it's especially at a left-handed. If you can dot that on that low and away corner against left-handed pitching or left-handed hitting, my goodness, it's exciting. So hopefully he learns. Looks at the film. Mark Pryor gets his hands on him a little bit and says, "All right, this is what we're gonna do next time." It's how we maybe mechanical tweak, who knows. But I'm excited. I think that was a lot of fun. And I mean, this game was a lot of fun. You talk about grit. You talk about everything that Dodger fan was worried about earlier in the year. Bullpen. Yeah, you go back to my past. Go look at the reaction to the Diamondback series that I posted, or the Pirates series that I posted. Bullpen struggles. Offense inconsistent. Not creative on the base paths. The Dodgers have stolen, I think, like 18 bags or 19 bags in the last 12 games, I think was the line. Something crazy like that. I mean, creative on the base paths, being aggressive. Awesome. Bullpen. I mean, the bullpen goes 11-1 innings pitched, and they give up 2 earned runs. It doesn't look like they're doing a whole lot. You can say what you will about throwing out your bullpen when you're up 13 runs or whatever, 8 runs, 12 runs, whatever. But, look at today's game. They got to go 5 innings, and they hold the Phillies to only 1 run in the 9th inning, and that was to tie the game. They didn't let the lead get any larger. It allows the Dodgers to claw back into the game. So the bullpen is looking good. They're being aggressive on the base paths. I mean, Miguel Vargas stealing second base is the only reason he scores on an Austin Barnes single. So these are all, maybe the Dodgers tried something earlier in the year, wasn't working out, realized, hey, the stolen bases are a thing we need to be doing. But part of it, too, is Miguel Vargas needing to be on base in important spots and not having a guy in front of him. He's getting on base. He's looking like he's turning stuff around. Miguel Vargas looked awesome recently. Obviously, the 4-hit game last night, but, homers today. And it's just it's good to see. Not today, sorry. He homers yesterday. And it's good to see that there's improvements being made in the areas where it was the most concerning, with guys figuring out. Caleb Ferguson's really good. I want to shout out Victor Gonzalez here. Since he got recalled, and I mean, you remember last year or 21, I can't remember, but he got called up and he did not look good. They called him up this year. He's looking a little trim. He's locating his fastball. He's since being called up, he has thrown 5 2/3 innings pitched, and he's struck out 7 batters and not given up a run. He has looked awesome. With Vesia struggling, when you have Vesia struggling, but no other left-hander to fall on, that exacerbates the problem. Well, Caleb Ferguson doing as well as he's been doing, he's sporting like a 1.3 ERA in 16 appearances or something like that. Now you have Victor Gonzalez looking really good. That's where the Dodgers can option Vesia down and say, hey, man, we need you, but we have an opportunity here for you to, improve. he's looked awesome, or Victor's looked awesome, and it's really good to see him because he was, if you recall, he was really important in that 2020 run, and ultimately leading to the World Series championship. And having him back up, I just, you feel for the guy. He went through a lot with so many injuries, getting called back up, not looking good, being sent down, and he's just been fighting and grinding, and it's looking like it's paying off. And Yency Almonte looked really good today too. He had a couple misses that you don't love to see, but otherwise, he looked the part. Caleb Ferguson did his part today too. The bullpen just overall, top to bottom. And again, this is not an easy lineup to get through, especially when you're, having to hold a lead. It's, you face this lineup up 13 runs. It's like, okay, you can kind of just do whatever you want. But when you need to hold the lead, and every out, every batter matters all that much more, it's so much more impressive to see the bullpen really come through. And the Dodgers didn't even throw out an Evan Phillips today. So, if it's Evan Phillips in the ninth, hey, maybe Max doesn't need to walk it off. But who knows? But this is the kind of stuff that I'm happy that they're experimenting with Brewstar in these spots. And I'm happy that the Dodgers bullpen is pulling through because we're going to need them down the stretch. And, there's greater talks about trade deadline acquisitions and, what the Dodgers might need. But if the bullpen figures itself out, maybe we don't need to go to the trade deadline and we can focus more on the offense. Speaking about the offense, it turned May 1st in this Phillies series, and Mookie said, okay, it's time to play baseball. It's time to be Mookie Betts. He goes 7 for 13 with a home run this series. What? I talked about earlier how great it is when Vargas and Outman, you get guys towards the bottom lineup. Chris Taylor had himself a pretty decent series. Austin Barnes is looking a little better. I mean, you can't look much worse, but it's great when those guys are elongating that lineup. But this offense really goes as far as Mookie Betts will take them. He's the tone setter. You saw him yesterday in game 2 where they're up like 8 runs and he stretches a single and he steals third he effectively dekes the center fielder, Brandon Marsh, and, he kind of hesitates. Brandon Marsh is kind of slow to get the ball back in the infield, and there goes Mookie. He's stealing third. He's being aggressive on the base paths. In a game that, for all intents and purposes, was over. Julio was shoving. The offense was, absolutely killing it. And then here's the leader of your team, the leader of the clubhouse, your $360 million player saying, no. This is what, every out matters. Every opportunity matters. Setting the example, setting the tone. If we get this from Mookie all year, sky's the limit, really, honestly. With Mookie Betts getting on base, he is just the tone setter. He's the straw that stirs the drink, as it were. So, really, this will be a shorter one because there's not too much to necessarily say. We get an off day, and then we go down to Dodger Stadium South. We face the Padres. We're coming off a 6 game win streak. Hopefully we can make it 7, but there's not too much to say. Everything is looking like the Dodgers, where they're a well-oiled machine. They're stealing bases, improvement. Bullpen's looking good, improvement. Offense is consistent. I mean, even today, it just it wasn't all these 8-run crooked innings and then nothing for 8 other innings. It was, you sprinkled it in. You get a run in the 3rd, you get a couple in the 4th, you sprinkle it in, you get some in the 8th. They're Aaron Nola was cruising there towards the end of the game, but still the Dodgers were able to consistently get runners on, score the runners. They're hitting well with runners in scoring position. They're working counts. I mean, you look at the Will Smith at bat, and he's not taking anything for granted. He's just trying to get on base, just trying to get a man across. it's just this just looks like what we're used to as Dodger fans, working counts, taking bases when you can, passing the baton, as Dave loves to say. So really, really excellent series from the Dodgers. I'm really looking forward to the series of the Padres. I want to preface it with, it's another team. We're not going to blow this out of proportion, and I don't think this is the end all be all, but it's just an exciting series. You get to play another competent team. You get, that scary looking lineup, and you get, Clayton Kershaw, Dustin May, Julio again. You get your guys. You get marquee pitching matchups, which is exciting. So it's really, and you get the Dodgers playing as well as they are. So you take the Dodgers playing as well as they are against another team who, bounced you in the NLDS, but is your competitor, is an equal, really. It's just exciting to put this version of the Dodgers to a real test. Not to say that the Phillies aren't, but to, a test in the Padres that we're going to see a lot, and, who maybe want it a little more than the Phillies, you could say. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't have many overreactions, many complaints. So let me know what you think about the series win, 6 in a row, second sweep. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What'd you think of Gavin Stone? How do you feel about Max Muncy at third base? He made that misplay today, but, game 2, he's looking really nice at third base right now. Any comments or concerns you have about this team, if any, or is this the Dodgers and we're just going to keep cruising, hopefully? And let me know what you think about the Padres series coming up. Do you think the Dodgers take it or what? So let me know in the comments below, and tune in Friday